Hello and welcome back. In the last video, we started the conditional expressions topic and we asked the question, what is a conditional statement? We saw the logic of true, false, and, or, and Boolean expressions. Now it's time to start if statements, one of the main building blocks of programming. And I will put this in progress and come to JupyterLab. If statement. I already prepared the introduction part to save time. As you know, as we saw earlier also, Python runs the code from top to down and we call it as execution flow. We already know this. But there will be some places in your code where you may want to control this flow. For example, you may say print the number if it's positive. If it's not, do nothing. This decision making is called conditional execution and it's done via if statements. It should be here double asterisk like that. It is done via if statements. Now we will learn if statements. Let's start with an example. Now I will write as print x if it is, in plain English first, if it is greater than 0. Which means if it's positive. Okay, this is plain English. And now let's convert this to Python language. Print x if it's greater than 0. Okay. Now let's define x first. X is, let's say it's 7. Okay. How we define if statements in Python? It's very easy. You just write if and a space. If and space, then you write your condition. What is your condition? You want to check if x is greater than 0. You want to check if x is greater than 0. If space, my condition, then a colon. You put a colon, then it automatically starts the if scope. As you see, I am in the if scope now. You see the indent, which means we are in the if scope here. And now, if this is true, if x is greater than 0, the expression will come here. Python execution will come inside the if statements because it can pass this. It's okay, it's true. Now I am in if, inside of if statement, and I will print. Let me use again the string format. Here I will put, this is the placeholder, I will put variable here is greater than 0. What will come here? I will write as format and I will put x here. It will put x inside here and it will say x is greater than 0 then if x is really greater than 0. In this case x is 7, so it will write as x is greater than 0. Let's run this. As you see, it prints as 7 is greater than 0. Okay, let's do this example one more time. Copy and paste it here. Now I want x to be minus, let's say, minus 10. Now let's check if x is greater than 0 or not. What do you think? And let me print here some end of if statement. I just want to show you that it will come here. What we'll do if this will execute or not. Okay, and after that I will print this statement. X is equal to minus 10. Now x is equal to minus 10. If we'll check, is x greater than 0? No, it will not. So it will not come inside here and it will not execute inside the if block. That it will move on to the next print. So you will not see this print here because it's not executed. Python didn't evaluate this code. It automatically moves down and execute this one, which prints this line of statement. So now another example. Let's say if, again with plain English first, if x is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 10, I will print it. print it. Let's see. X is equal to 10, let's say, for the start. Now, I will first print an empty line to show you it will print here first, then at the end, again, I will print an empty line. So, in between these lines, let us see what will happen. What is my condition? If x is greater than 0, if x is greater than 0, that's the first part. This part, x is greater than 0, and you remember we talked about and less than, this is the second part, less than or equal to 10. X is less than or equal to 10 and colon. And this is the if statement. And this is the condition, the combined condition with and, combined condition of if statement. If this is true, it will print again with string format. This number is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 10. It will print this with dot format, and I will put it here x. So if x is greater than 0 and smaller than or equal to 10, it will print. Let's see. Yes, it prints the line. Why? Because x fits here, because x is 10 in this case. And let me draw this with a on the line. Okay, let me show you how we think in terms of linear relationship. Let's say 0 is here, okay, and 10 is here, and this moves on. Now, what do we want? We want x to be greater than 0 and less than or equal to 10. So this is greater than 0 part. This is less than or equal to 10 part. Even 10 is included, but 0 is not included. I will draw this as empty circle. This is the full circle. Okay, so we are looking for this range. If any number is in this range, in this case 10 is in this range, then if will evaluate. If any number outside this range, we will not do anything. Okay, so let's see. 10 will evaluate, and it's true. Now another example, another number with the same example. Let's say a number, another condition. Let's say x is 17 this time. X is 17. What does it print? What does it print? It will print nothing, right? Because 17 is this range. It's not in this range, so it will print nothing. This condition is not evaluates to true. Since it is not true, it will not work. Let me write also one more time. If we'll check and change the color. If we'll check this part, whatever you write after if statement before colon, before this one, if statement will check here, okay? If it's true, if this is true, then your code will execute the line inside if block. If this is false, it will not do anything. It will just move down. Okay, so the main idea of if is if true. If true, colon, it will execute the lines in if block. Okay, this is the idea of if in Python. So let's move on. Let's move on. Now let's say x is equal to 6 for this case. Let's say x is equal to 6. If x is equal to 6, okay, now let's say what it does. X is greater than 0, yes, true. X is smaller than 10, yes, true. And it will print 6 is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 10. Okay, now let's do another example. It will be code cell, and again with plain English, if x is greater than, 0 and less than, greater than or equal to 0, let's say. If x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than 20, print it. Now we want x to be greater than or equal to 0 and at the same time less than 20. So let's do it. And let's put x is equal to 19. And again, I will print here this. I will change it now. Now, what is my condition? X is greater than or equal to 0. This is the first condition. And the second one is x is smaller than, less than 20. Okay? And I will print x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than 20. That's what we will print if x evaluates this as true, which in this case 19 is greater than or equal to 0, check, is true, and x it is 20 smaller than, less than 20, check. So true and true will evaluate true, and you will see this print out 19 is greater than or equal to 0. What was it? What if it was 49, let's say? Is 49 in this range? Definitely not, because 49 doesn't evaluate this as true. Is greater than 20, so it is not in this range. Remember, we draw the line on the line, this range, so it will not evaluate true, it will not print anything. -6, let's say, x is equal to -6. What will happen? Is -6 in this range? No, it is not greater than or equal to 0. This is false. Since this is false, it will not even evaluate this part. Since this is false, because there is and here, and wants both to be true. Since this is false, it is false, then it will not evaluate and it will not print anything. Okay? The last example, let's do with OR. Let's do an OR example. This time, let's write if x is greater than 100 or less than 0, then print it. Now what do we want? We want x to be greater than 100 or less than 0. Let's see the conditions. First define x, and let's say it's 80. And again, I will print these lines, just this one. I will print this line and this line. Now in between, let's write our if statement. If x is greater than 100, this is the first part of evaluation, or x is less than 0 and column. Okay, if x is greater than 100 or x is less than 0, I will print, let me copy this print statement here. I will print x is whatever x greater than 100, okay, or less than 0. That will print when if this is hold with this hold true, this evaluates true with this x, specific x, which is 80. No, 80 is not is this range, because 80 is not greater than 100 and it's not smaller than, less than 0. Let me draw this also, because or logic is different than and logic. Let me draw this. Now what do we want? We have 0 here, we have 100 here, and our condition is, take another color, our condition is x should be greater than, this is not included, greater than 100. This is x greater than 100 range. We want this range. This is okay for us. The other range is x, this one, which is x smaller than 0. This is not included, this is not included. So any number which is either in this range or in this range, it's okay for us because we use OR. or means any of them are true, it will evaluate true. So 80, where is 80? 80 is somewhere in between here. 80. It is not in our range, so it will evaluate. This one will evaluate false for 80. And it will not print anything. As you see, it didn't print. So we run this and it didn't print. So let's check with another x. This time 280, let's say. 280, and let's see. Where is 280? It's somewhere here, right? Let's say 280, which evaluates one of our conditions. It evaluates to true. And if I run this, 280 is greater than 100 or is less than 0. As you see, it printed out. The last example for this video also, let's make it minus 300. Minus 300. Let's see what happens. And one more time, my range, where is minus 300? It's somewhere here. Minus 300. It's in one of our ranges, so it will evaluate as true. As you will see here, if I run, it will print minus 300 is greater than 100 or less than 0, which is this case. It evaluates true. Okay, I think it's enough for if statements, and we did lots of examples with if and or. I hope you got the idea. Now we will move on with else statement. Let me go to Notion and make it completed. In the next video, we will see the else statements. See you there.